Hello everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. My name is Alex. Welcome to another episode of Transfer News, daily, whatever you want to call it. There's quite a bit going on at the moment. Today's a good day. It's been a good day so far. I was actually on Sky Sports earlier, so yeah, check that out. If you haven't already, there's some posts on our Twitter page. Just talking about predictions going into the season and my thoughts on Poch. But yeah, really interesting. We've had obviously the fixtures coming out. The opening game of the season for Chelsea Football Club in the Premier League is going to be on Sunday the 13th of August at 4:30 against Liverpool at home. I mean, my immediate reaction to that is not really that happy about it. If I'm being honest with you, I'd probably rather play against a newer team in the league, you know, a Luton or maybe Nottingham Forest, just a team that we know we can pick up a result against. Because let's not make any mistake going into this season, we have to expect much better results, and I think we will get that under Poch. I really do. I don't think that's too high an expectation to expect to win most of the time. Having said that, obviously you're going to drop points occasionally. But yeah, moving on to some of the transfer news. There's been some reports that Mauricio Pochettino does not see the goalkeeping position as a priority and is happy for Kepa to remain in goal for next season to prove himself. I have to agree with Pochettino on this. I do believe that there are just positions that are more important than the keepers at this time. And we have to strengthen ourselves on the pitch in terms of the way we play before we actually get a good keeper, because I feel like that's almost like the cherry on top in a lot of ways. That's what's going to push you to Premier League titles. But we've had Kepa in the past and we've still managed to get top four under Maurizio Sarri as our number one. So I think we can still get that again under Poch. And on top of that, he is able to pass the ball out from the back, which is obviously going to be very integral to the way we play. As for Mendy, can't see him staying at Chelsea, doesn't fit the style of play, and obviously won't be getting game time either. Kai Havertz, there's a lot of talk that Chelsea are demanding 75 million. Real Madrid are not really willing to pay more than 50, including a few add-ons. And Arsenal are extremely interested, which I have to say really surprises me. What they see in Kai Havertz that gives them any sort of hope that he's going to perform for them doesn't make any sense to me, because we have played attacking football, we've played defensive football. Havertz never really found any consistent form, except obviously with the Champions League, and obviously scored a couple of penalties as well. So my thing is this: just get rid of the man. He doesn't want to be here. He's refusing to sign a new contract. Bowley has said, listen, if you don't want to sign a contract, Kai, we are going to sell you. And he seems happy to leave. So Arsenal apparently are willing to offer around sort of 60 million and pay him around 200 grand a week as well. That's what's being reported. I mean, you've got to take that, surely. I just can't see any reason why you would turn that down. Look, of course we're going to push for as much as we can if we can get some add-ons with that as well, but I think 60 million pounds for Kai Havertz, it's a no-brainer for me. It literally, it doesn't make sense to not accept that deal, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Mason Mount as well. There's just no progress from what we've seen. Obviously we had an official bid, the first official bid for Man United for Mason Mount. They bid 40 million. Which was reported by Fabrizio Romano, and Chelsea rejected that bid immediately, and rightly so. I think Mason Mount is worth more than 40 million. Some people would disagree with the way he plays, but commercially as well, he's a huge asset to Chelsea, and I think he'd be a huge asset to Man United as well. So listen, I mean, when we talk about the 80 million pound mark, that's put Liverpool off straight away. It's really only Man United that are in the race to sign him. So it's a case of Chelsea being willing to lower their asking price, because the ball is in their court, not Man United. Because Worst case, they don't want to take Mason Mount at Man United this summer. They'll just get him on a free next season, and they'll be able to pay him more as well because they won't have that transfer fee. So either way, I think things are going to be all right for Mason Mount because he's happy to stay at Chelsea, but they're not giving him what he wants. But at the same time, they're not really trying to find a compromise. Nobody seems to be, trying to. Nobody's trying to compromise. That's the best way to put it. Mason Mount wants control of his image rights. He wants a certain amount of money, probably higher than what he deserves. He's already been offered 200 grand a week, which in my opinion is as much as you go. He's not better than Reece James. That's just the way I see it. That's my opinion. And Chelsea don't want to pay him anymore. And if you're a club, why would you give a player control of his own image rights? That just seems ludicrous to me, unless you're, Lionel Messi or someone like that. That's the only player really who comes into that category. So, with that side as well, I have to say, not a lot of progress with Mason Mount. Now, there is also some interest from Spurs. Apparently, their manager, Postecoglou, is interested in Conor Gallagher. And, I think probably not a bad move for him, if we're being brutally honest. I think Pochettino will give him some game time. And I think he suits both managers. I think he suits Spurs and he suits Chelsea in the sense that he's going to run, right? We're not talking about quality here. We're just talking about managers trying to put their standpoint on a team. And at the end of the day, we know that both of those managers, Pochettino and Postecoglou, want to press and they want to play on the front foot with lots of possession. And I think Conor Gallagher is very similar to Mason Mount in the sense that, he's a player who will just run like a dog. Even if he can only do it for 80 minutes, he will go 110% and he will push his body to the max. So, listen, if Spurs are willing to pay the money, then I'd say get rid of it. Get rid of him. It's pure profit for the club because he's an academy prospect as well. There's talk about Levi Colwill and a potential swap deal with Brighton, where Chelsea get Caicedo and we pay a smaller fee, but we have to give Brighton Levi Colwill as well. They had a bid of about 30 or 40 million rejected, rightly so. He's worth probably double that in the modern day market. For the season he's had with a club like Brighton, to be able to propel them into European football, why would you sell him for 40 million? That makes no sense to me. And if you are going to sell him for 40 million, the resale will be double. Brighton is so good at negotiating. They had our pants down with Cucurella. So we've got to be really, really careful with the way we approach this. And I think, judging from what we've seen since Poch has been in charge, obviously not officially until July the 1st, I think he's given the board quite good advice. He did this with Ugarte. He said, don't spend too much on a player above his market value because what it can do is disrupt the morale of the team. So the first thing we have to do is obviously get rid of some of those egos. Lukaku, Havertz, there's talk about Kovacic, I'm not sure about him, Mount. Any players who don't want to be here should not be here. That is basically what I'm trying to say. And I think most fans will agree with me on that fact. We're not asking for anything special. Listen, even if we don't have the best quality next season, let's at least have 100% effort. I think we know we're going to get that under Poch. We've seen the progression that you can have, that he had under his teams at Southampton and Tottenham. They ran more than anyone else. And forgetting, he had a tough time at PSG, even though he did win the league. Thomas Tuchel had a tough time there and still came out as one of the best managers and won us this trophy right here. I'm not saying Poch is going to win us the Champions League. Absolutely not. But I do think that we've got a good imprint. And although we're moving slowly, I think sometimes that's the best way to move. A little bit under the radar. We've been in the press so much recently and things haven't gone our way. Let's try a different formula. Let's try and go under the radar and just get things done. Do what needs to be done.